This is Rap the News, and today I'm going to tell you about a near-death experience by an Israeli boy that happened pretty much around 2015 that is marking pretty much the end time right now. And so Nathan, who was a 15-year-old boy, got extremely ill one day, and as the day before he had fainted and got extremely cold. He claimed his body was aching all over and he got under the covers, and after a while he said he was looking down on his own body. He was just pretty much hovering over his own body, not that far from his body, and he was just saying, you know, how can that be? Then he saw something that looked like a tunnel with a very bright light that spiraled, and he said there was a voice in that tunnel that asked him if he wanted to die, you know, and if he crossed the line of the light, he wouldn't be able to go back to his body. So he said he turned around from the light and walked down a long hallway, and he saw people there dressed very well, fine clothes. And he looked at his clothes and they were dirty and holy and had blood stains on them, and he felt ashamed. But he said when he walked in that hallway, people were clapping and cheering. They all knew him. They was welcoming him there. Anyway, he said that then everything got silenced, and then he said he looked and it was like a judge altar there, and it was like 3 beams of light, and it wasn't the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. It was the angel that sat on his right shoulder and the angel that sat on his left shoulder, and I guess the beam in the middle had to be God, the judge. Again, the angel that recorded everything he did on his right and the angel that recorded everything he did on the left, meaning that one angel records all the bad and one angel records all the good, and they sat there in the judgment with him. Anyway, they started out with the bad. And so they start telling him everything bad that he did, everything bad that he thought. And he said this judgment was so meticulous, like it was so fine-tuned. It's like they didn't leave out nothing. I mean, he said he was so embarrassed and so ashamed of all the things that he was thinking. And they was asking him a question: why did you think this? Why did you do this? Why'd you go there? You know what I mean? They just kept asking him questions and questions and questions and questions, and he said he was as holy hell embarrassed, you know. And I think he said the more that they keep saying bad judgments against him on the bad side, that everything he did bad, he said he had a light pretty much on himself that was going dim. And then finally they got to the other angel who said the good, and he said that the thing about the good is that it's amounted more. Like if you do one good thing, it's blown up there like extremely. It's like you did 20,000 good things, you know what I mean? And so basically everything good that you do, no matter how little it is, it gets blown up there. And so they start mentioning the good, and you know, he was feeling good about the good that he had did. And then he said they took him to this place called it's pretty much a lower heaven. And he said there were some angels there dressed all in black hair, black beards, and then he said they had fire in their eyes. And so basically he said the angels took hold of him, and they said he can't go to this place until he go to the scales. So they took him to the scales, and he was standing in front of the scales, and then I guess it's that light dark thing again. The more bad dark, the more good light. And so basically they start weighing his bad on the scales, and all of the evil thoughts and everything. It's like everything goes, the smallest little thing that you could ever do wrong or think wrong goes on that scale. He said God didn't leave out nothing. And again, he felt ashamed, embarrassed, bad when it was laying on all the bad onto the scale. and then they start laying on the good and stuff like that. And since the good was doubled and multiplied, it just kept multiplying. Then it was weighing down the scale to the point where at one point the scale had weighed heavier on the good side. And so that was pretty much the end of the judgment. Like, his good outweighed his bad. Then they told him that he have to go and repair some things. Just like I told you, that you're not going to get away with nothing. You're gonna have to, everything that you broke, everybody that you screwed over, everything that you did wrong, it is a period of time that you're going to have to repair and fix everything that you did wrong. Anyway, he said they took him into the lower heaven, and he said people was clapping and cheering, for him when the good angel was telling about his good deeds. They was cheering for him, and they was not cheering for him when they were saying the bad. Anyway, they took him into this lower heaven, and he said when he walked in there, it was people with the Torah open. Yes, the Torah. They was all reading the Torah, and they all pretty much had to learn the Torah. And that's why it's so crucial right now to understand the Torah. Like, we debate about the Bible, and my debate about the Bible is Jesus is not a false prophet. They were saying Jesus don't exist and all that kind of stuff. That is lie. They denying our prophet because of the infiltration. And just like I was trying to tell them, both books are infiltrated. There is contradictions in both the Torah and the Bible, strong contradictions in many. And just like I said, you don't even want me to do a video on that because I don't want to lessen people's belief in the book, And so basically, I try not to screw with the Torah, whatsoever. The Bible I get on all damn day long, but the Torah, no. And so anyway, they were there reading the Torah, and they have to learn exactly how God is in the Torah and everything else. So they were sitting there learning the Torah. And so he said the angels that was in black with fiery eyes showed him another place, and that place was, they call Jehannam. That they actually really called, that's what he said they called it in his dream. And he said it had different places in there. One place named Bo, and another place I forgot, and then they use word like mischief, I can't think of, which mean commandments. And he said the people who didn't obey the commandments, and note, this boy knew nothing about the Torah or the Bible. But he said the people who didn't obey the commandments and didn't open up the book to read the commandments, they were all in there in torment. And he said it was like different places of hell that people go. And it was like a classroom down there, like he said. It was like a class or something, and fire was shooting out the top of that. And it's like he couldn't explain it and stuff like that. So they showed him hell, and they say when you go to hell, even if you're not in the fire, you can feel all the pain and suffering and everything that people is going through down there. Anyway, they took him back to the place, and they said, how do you like it here? And he says, I like it here. But then they said, okay, then we're going to show you the higher heavens. And so they showed him the higher heavens, and he said the higher you get up, the lighter it gets. It's like you're in a dim place, the lower heavens, but the higher you get up, the more light it gets, because that's God's light. And so when he saw the higher heavens, he wasn't so thrilled about the lower heaven. And so they asked him, did he want to stay there or go back? Because that happened to me inside of a vision or a dream as well. But he had a death experience, not a dream or a vision. But I had a dream and a vision where I was walking with a tall angel. I didn't know who it was. I just thought it was a friend of mine, but I didn't know who he was. He was walking, I believe, to my left, and we were walking around this big, huge, beautiful place, and there was a bunch of people walking around up and down the stairs and everything else, and It was a beautiful walkway, and I started recognizing people, and I was like, I'm looking and I'm asking the angel, I'm like, do you recognize that person? That person looks so familiar, and I just kept seeing people that person looks familiar, and then I realized one of the guys or persons were dead. I was like, wait a minute, that person right there, he dead. And then I stopped and I looked over at the angel and said, are these people dead? And the angel said, yeah, they all dead. And I said, am I dead? He said, no, you're not dead yet. And he said, they asked me the same thing they asked him. They said, how do you feel here? And I said, this is beautiful. This is nice. This is very relaxing and peaceful. And then the angel said, like, take it all in, man. He really told me, he said, take it all in. He said, feel it, man. Feel the peace, feel the love, feel the surrealness. It's not, it's like the feeling, feel the tranquility is the word I'm looking for. Feel it. And I was like, it's nice, man. And he says, now we're giving you an opportunity to stay here or go back down there. And I was like, this is nice. And I sat there and I was quiet for a minute and I was thinking. And then I said, I want to go back down. I don't even know why I said I wanted to go back down there, but I know these words came out of my mouth. I said, I got work to do. I said, I cannot die now. I have work to do on earth. And so I didn't even know what work. And they sent me back down to my body. And that's why I understand. That's why I'm doing this, because what he's saying here is so familiar to me, because I was taken up too. And I saw my transgressions as well. In another vision where they took me and the guy said I had actually died. And he took me up and they showed me all my transgression, and I was full of regrets and sorrow. I was looking at so many things that I'm telling you, your mind is a terrible thing. You know what I'm saying? All the stuff that you think, all the bad things, is horrible. So anyway, they showed him the higher heavens, and he said, I want to go back so I can earn a position in the higher heavens. I want to go back and stop doing all the bad, and I want to earn a higher position. I'm going to say this. It's easy to talk when you're there. I've been there where he was. It's easy to run your mouth and talk when you're there. And I'm going to show you guys something. When I was there and I was looking at all the bad deeds, they showed me all of my bad deeds. When I was looking at all of my bad deeds, I don't remember seeing no good deeds. They just showed me the bad. And I was saying, why didn't I just submit to God? Why didn't I just do what was right? I was saying to myself these things. I said, it was so easy. How come I just didn't do good? I was really baffled there. I didn't understand why I didn't just do good. And I was saying, it's so easy to do good. I could have just turned to God. I could have just did delightful things. I could have just been kind. I could have been a loving, sweet, honorable person. Why was I such a badass? Why did I want to do all these bad things? And so, when they sent me back down to my body, because I thought I wasn't going to go to my body. I thought I was going straight to hell. I saw a little boy going to heaven. I wish I could trade places with him. That was a wish of mine there. I saw him floating to heaven. I was like, I wish I was that kid, man. It was a fat little kid, and I was like, I wish I was him. Fat and all, man. I just wish I was him. And I didn't want to be me, And so I was just trying to think of a prayer. I couldn't even think of a prayer to say, to try to save my soul. But something was telling me it's too late. It's too late, You can't say no prayers. And I just put any prayer that I could together. And I started praying, and then God levitated my body, and it made me go back down through the heavens and back down through the skies and then go back down through the roof of my building. I felt myself going through the attic and everything else, man, and then whatever they call the upper part, and then I went down through the roof into my body. I felt myself go into my body, and then when I went in my body, I felt my face, and I was happy to be back. you know. But when I got back, you know, because up there I was saying, oh, it's so easy, it's so easy, it's so easy. I don't know why I didn't do all this stuff. When I got back, then I felt a feeling, and it was a feeling of sadness, anxiety, stress, duress. You just not here on earth, and you just making choices like, hey, I want to do good or I want to do bad. No, it ain't that. Everything is under duress. You under stress. You under a whole lot of it ain't like you just choose good or bad. You choosing good and bad under a lot of fucking hell. So we all going through fucking hell, and in all the hell, turmoil and suffering, you know, and adversity and everything that we're going through, we still got to do good. We still got to please God. We still got to obey the commandments, right? Anyway, they said, you want to go back? So you're going to go back, because they told him, if you stay here longer than 3 hours, you cannot go back down. Then you here. And so he said, okay, I want to leave. So they start sending him back down. He said when they sent him down, it was something else horrible that he saw that he couldn't really explain, and it was the angel of death. And he said this thing was so tall that if you look down, you couldn't never see the bottom of his feet, and if you look up, you could never see the top of him, because he just kept going and going and going. And he was saying, you know, there is no way that you can escape this angel of death. That's what he felt when he was around him. And he said the angel of death grabbed him around his chest and picked him up and held him. And then he said he was talking to him in a very frightful voice. And he said, the things that you saw there, because he said the angel of death had eyes all over his body. It's like it was full of eyes, you know. And he said the things that you saw in heaven and the things that you saw in hell, he said they don't even compare to what's going to happen to you when I get a hold of you. He said everybody going to have to experience me, the good and the bad. And he said no matter if you was 100% pure and sinless, you still going to pay with me. That's what he said. The angel of death said to him, everybody suffers and pays with me. Everybody. I get a hold of everybody. Everybody have to go through me. You know, death. Everybody got to experience death. And it ain't just that you just lay down and go to sleep. Nah, it's something there waiting on your ass. And he said, this thing said, you know, for now, but you gonna see me again. You know, for now, go back to your body. And so he went back to his body, went through the heavens and everything else that I went through, back to his roof, back to his body. And so, but before he was going back to his body, he said when he was up in heaven, everybody knew everything that was going down on earth. And he was saying during the month of Elul, on the 27th, this was Friday yesterday, he said the war is going to begin. And then he said basically a big war is going to break all out at one time. It's going to be the United Nations, Israel, Iran. He said this in 2015, and he knew nothing about none of this, you know. And he was saying it has something to do with Gog, and he said Gog was America, you know. And basically a whole lot of people in Israel is finna die. He said they gonna get killed and destroyed. And he said the only ones in Israel that's gonna survive is the people that's keeping the commandments, that's actually living the commandments. And I know they black, you know. And then he pretty much said some other things that was going to happen, and he finished the thing. But here's the thing about this, man. Here's the key thing: the good and the bad, the rewards, the good and the evil that you do. I keep stressing this. Y'all ain't getting away with shit. Nobody's going to get away with nothing. You are going to pay for everything. Nobody there, he didn't mention it one time, is going to wash nothing in the blood of Jesus. You know, and I can understand Lex and brother, I forgot his name, Donnell, you know, the ones that I was talking to about the Torah in the last video. I can understand them reading the Torah only. I do understand that. But my whole thing with the Bible is to don't diss none of the prophets, man. You know, even though the Bible and the Torah has been tampered with, don't let them take away our prophets or demonize our prophets like they demonize us. Strap the news.